What's going on, everybody? Track announcer Chris Griffin here in the Parks Racing Studio as we get set to kick off another week of live racing here in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. It's out of the gate. Happy to be with you here on a Cool Shirt Monday. Doesn't get cooler than the PA Derby Cotillion Day Bet Parks polo. I'm just saying. This wasn't laziness. I just liked. It doesn't say it on the shirt. That's right. It's a good point that my director, Nick, just made. But hey, let's get into things. Let's talk about last week's winners. It's the Parks Playback. Check it out.
Parks Playback time, here we go. Monday action, it was the Angry Man. The Angry Man making up some good ground, and he was the happy man as they got the win. That was Luis Rivera for trainer Trevor Gallimore. It was Spike Zone striding away. Look at this stretch run. Spike Zone got right to the front, and it was over. Leading rider Ruben Silvera for trainer Jimmy Ness, they got the victory. It was Shiny Slam and Carlos Oliveira. Big victory here for the 2-year-old. Owned by Victoria's Ranch. That's the barn for former MLB All-Star catcher Victor Martinez. Trainer Juan Ciavilla with the victory. Shiny Slam, much the best. Bow to the Queen, Tyler Connor. A debut victory. Flint Stites. Bow to the Queen. Her Royal Highness gets the victory in the opener on Tuesday. It was Mr. Tuttle. Motivated down the stretch, and Mr. Tuttle, Josue Arce, what a season he has had. They get the victory with a nice stretch run. Evie's Candy for trainer Scott Lake, the 2-year-old. Look at this victory, powerhousing away. Jockey Luis Ocasio, they got the score. Wednesday action, turn it on. Mario Dominguez, he's had a nice meet as well. Jockey Angel Castillo, turn it on, just held on over that big stretch run, and they got the victory. Matty Rowland for trainer McLean Hendricks. How good was this effort? Blueberry pie on the turf, and this pie was sweet at 21-1, a big long shot. And it was Eastern Bay. They said they might look at the Bossburg next. Trainer Norman Cash, when he's come here, he's meant business at Parks. William Humphrey, the apprentice, gets the victory. Have a great week.
If anybody got that obscure Mr. Tuttle reference there, motivated, Saved by the Bell, I want to be friends with you. At In the Grandstand, make sure you give me a shout on Twitter. Hey, we got some great racing action coming up. 4 stakes races for you as part of the match series, and we got a chance to catch up with Alan Bedard. We'll talk about his training career a little bit later, but he's got something to say and talked about a main contender that continues to be at the top of the leaderboard in the match series. Tick, 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 boom.
Because she's not strictly turf, but mostly turf. She gets her break every year. So we started thinking about it. I started thinking about it last year and wanted to do the match series as a 4-year-old because she's maturing. So we figured we just head for the match series. And we came up a little bit short in the Dahlia, which was in April, because our barn was locked down because of the quarantine. It was the race here, the match series here, when she finished second. And the horse she finished second to was a graded stake placed horse. So that was probably her best. She seems to kind of run with the field. She can catch them, doesn't have to have that hot pace, but still make a good run at them. She's just very competitive, but I hate to say it, but she has to get to the outside. So when she gets to the outside, she makes a run, and she makes a big run. The breaks, we'd catch her mouth and she'd back out of the break. So, we really had to work on that a lot, change bits a few times, different equipment. But other than her just being a little sensitive in the mouth, if you relax on her, she's pretty good. But like I said, she has to get outside. Her little claim to fame so far, she's stake placed at Penn National, Parks, Monmouth, Pimlico, and Belmont. So we've had a lot of fun with her. It's been a really good experience. Looking forward to her 5-year-old year when she really matures, because she's been running against older horses now. And I think her 5-year-old year will probably be her best, and hopefully we can hit the match series again.
Match series, 4 stakes races, $100,000 each. We'll take a look at what the track conditions are going to be as we caught some wet weather throughout the weekend and into today. But let's talk about some of the racing action that's coming up here before we get into the stakes races. Race number 1, let's start handicapping. Not going to get through all 12 races here on out of the gate, but plenty during the live show. The number 8 towards the outside in 2-color map. I think with the blinkers on, you see a class drop in here from the maiden 16 down to the maiden 10. This horse just fits. I mean, this horse is kind of dropping into the right spot to get the victory. Should show early speed, and I think gets the job done here in the opener. Race number 2, as you continue on through the card here and you take a look at this race, going to go towards the far outside, and we take a look at the number 9 in here in the right path. Dropping down from a starter race into this $8,000 claiming company, again, that class drop just seems to make a lot of sense from an outside draw. Horse has also run over a wet track 9 times, 1 win, 2 seconds, and 3/3, so has been very competitive over any track that's got some moisture to it. We'll see if the right path towards the outside by Quality Road gets the job done there in race number 2. In the third race, 6.5 furlongs being the distance in today's third race, of course, and when you take a look at the number 5 in here, that's going to be my top selection in Empire Score. I thought a decent enough effort last time, finishing second, beating 3+ lengths in that spot. Second off the layoff here for Jaime Bravo Estrada, and this barn has done, decent work here and decent work here lately as well. Limited starters, 31 starters, small sampling size, but 4 wins, 6 seconds, 3/3. They come to play when they send these horses out. So finishing behind a veteran horse like King's House in the last start, I think Empire Score can take a step forward, moves up a little bit off of that race, had the race off of the layoff, has one win and a second place finish over a wet track, so Empire Score top pick. We'll see what the price ends up being. That does look like a pretty wide open race in race number 3. Let's hear more about where you can bet on some of these races right here at Parks.
Now available, an enhanced Parks Racing mobile app. The improved Parks mobile app will feature biometric login through fingerprint or face ID. View wagering information before building your wager. Customizable viewing options, hands betting and transaction history, helpful tips, and much more. The enhanced Parks mobile app, now available.
Race number 4, the number 8, Give Me 2 Steps. When you take a look at this horse in here, I'm throwing out the last effort. I think that 5th place finish, beaten 10+ lengths, 1 for 1 over a wet track. I think this horse needed that last race just to kind of bounce back to the form that you saw 2 starts back. This horse was just striding away and won easily 2 starts back, and I think the horse can get the job here today. Won against open $7,500 claimers in there, condition claimers into this race, so it just seems like this horse is in a really nice spot to get the victory. Race number 5, Boca Royalty. So I was taking a look at a couple different horses, and I was really going to roll with Sizzling Roma, but I changed my selections when I saw the wet weather, when you got some of the moisture on the track, and we'll see what the track condition ends up being. But the number 6 Sizzling Roma is 0 for 6 over a wet track. The number 1 Boca Royalty, she loves it. She's a 7-year-old mare with 2 wins and a second place finish out of 3 lifetime starts on the wet track. So I think that moves her up. Harold Weiner, he's 14% with this type of move. I think this is a horse that can get it done. Needs to work out the right trip, but should get a decent trip from the rail draw there in race number 5. We got a chance to catch up with the trainer that you saw talking about his horse running later on this afternoon as part of the match series Tick, 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 Boom. Here's more with trainer Alan Bedard.
Started me when I was 18, and I went to the windows. I went to the track with my buddies and had a lot of fun, but they stayed at the windows and I went to the paddock.
Trainer Alan Bedard has always been a fan of racing and remembers the thoroughbreds that he enjoyed watching.
I'll be honest, it was standardbred in those days. That's where it started. But early on, I guess the Affirms, the Alidars, those type horses, even Ali Shebas, those types that I remembered. Secretariat's always the big one.
Alan Bedard took his passion to the backside and knew he wanted to work around racehorses.
I just fell in love with horses, and then I liked the thoroughbred side better, and actually started out, I went to a school in Indiana, and became like a barn foreman type there, and learned exercise riding, so I was an exercise rider. And from there, actually just worked at the track for a couple years, left and went into the real business world.
Alan Bedard talks about his early career and leaving the 9-to-5 business world.
Followed my father around through different jobs. So ended up with my first job in the racing industry up in the Poconos. It's called Westwind Stable up there. So then we bred horses. I broke babies, rode up in the mountains in the cold in the Poconos. Got going there. Then continued working at a different job, and then finally, like I said, we left. My wife and I both left our jobs, and I became a trainer in '98. Came right to Parks. We were weekend warriors, my wife and I. So on weekends, we'd pack up and go stay at a hotel near one of the racetracks and see our horses in training, or see other horses, at different racetracks. And from there, we finally decided to leave our prospective jobs and say, let's do this full time.
Alan Bedard then got right into training.
Right. For me, in '98, we started out with 3 horses. I was kind of thrown into the business at then, and my father owned a couple, and I was partners with them. And we never really wanted to grow to be a major outfit. I never wanted to get more than 10 or 15 horses. We just wanted to stay low key, enjoy ourselves, and be able to raise a family, because it's awful tough in this business to do all that with a large stable. So we try to maintain that. Now we've built up to about 10 now. So we average 10 horses in training, and for the most part, been working with Pennsylvania breeders. I've worked for Castle Rock Farm. They're like the second oldest breeding farm in Pennsylvania, and I work with Foxtail Racing, Foxtail Stud. They're one of my major outfits now that I train for, and I really enjoy the PA bred, the PA sired series that they have here. So we've tried to stay with the PA breds.
The drive and excitement of being around the horses is what Alan Bedard still loves.
It's nice to leave a job that you worked 9 to 5, and now you can go do something that you really enjoy, because I love the horses. So to get up in the morning and love the horses, it's still hard to get up in the morning, but the key to it all is when your horse finishes first across that wire before anybody else, there's no feeling like it. And when you get that feeling and everybody's happy and smiling, it's another party. So it's all about the win and the feeling. But quite frankly, we're thrilled with second, third, and fourth as long as our horses run well, and we're happy with everything. But the win, there's nothing like a win.
Trainer Alan Bedard remembers one of his favorite horses during his training career.
Fell in love with a horse named Teflon Tony, and I basically had him from when he was 2 till he was about 7 or 8. I forget when we retired him, but he was just a little bit of a nut, and galloping in the morning was a little feisty, but he was my buddy, and he always tried when he went out there, and went back and forth from dirt to turf, and he was just a lot of fun.
There's nothing like a win. And for Alan Bedard, he loves to celebrate with family.
Away from the track, this kind of combines with the track. For instance, we go to Monmouth. When we go to Monmouth, we always hit Max's Hot Dogs. So that's one of our little foodie places that we enjoy. But away from the track, with my family, my daughter, and my son, we try to get to different restaurants and enjoy it. So we, right in Newtown, there's a nice Italian La Stalla. Usually, okay, once we win a race, where are we going for dinner tonight? That's always the thing, and you can tell with the bellies, we have that we do enjoy it. But yeah, we kind of, it's that emotional eating. So we do look forward to a nice little dinner after a win.
Any advice for trainers starting their career? From trainer Alan Bedard.
Be honest with yourself, be honest with the horse, and take good care. Just do your due diligence. You do your hard work, and the horse will do the hard work for you too.
Take a look at that Philly Big 5 carryover jackpot, $28,462.31. When you take a look at that Philly Big 5 sequence, it's going to start race number 8 this afternoon. It's a nice sequence as we'll take a look at that, throughout the day and during the live show with paddock previews. And we've got some stakes racing action here this afternoon. Of course, we've got the match series. They'll be joining us. And like I said, hopefully they brought us some of those great hats that they had before. Hopefully Tom's down there with those match series hats. Wink, wink. Let me get one of those. But we got some great stakes races, 4 of them, $100,000 each. I want to highlight one of the main races that we're going to see here this afternoon. When you take a look at race number 9, and it's a sprint race in here, and that's For the Love of Bourbon, who I'm going to pick on top. Barron, I've talked about these two having kind of a rivalry throughout the season, and For the Love of Bourbon, he's just been getting the better this season. Last season it was all about Barron. Let's take a look at this last effort from For the Love of Bourbon, and this was in a stakes race right here at Parks, of course, and this was in the Banjo Picker Sprint. Look at him just stride away here out in the center of the racetrack. Really opens up. Today's race is the Liberty Bell, $100,000 stakes race as part of the match series. But For the Love of Bourbon, Paco Lopez got to know the horse. Look at how he's just opening up. Here comes Barron from out of the group, and he's really going to close with a rush. These two square off again. They're going to take a lot of wagering here in the Liberty Bell Stakes. Will For the Love of Bourbon just kind of cement himself as just the season that he's had and the type of year that he's had? So we'll see what happens there. Performance of the week, we've always got to jump into that. Let's check out the performance of the week and see one of the great efforts we saw and a 600th career training victory. Bobby Mosco smiling ear to ear there. 600 career training victories. Don't forget to follow us at Parks Racing, at In the Grandstand. Subscribe on YouTube. We're over 1,000. Thank you guys out there. Follow us on Facebook and then Instagram, Parks_Racing. The Match Series, great stakes racing action on a little bit chilly and a wet day here on this Monday. Have a great day of racing. We'll see you next week on Out of the Gate.